Hello everyone and welcome back to From the Depths in the Land Designer. So I've built a new tank. This is the Andre tank. It's pretty much everything the last tank would wish it could be. It has two guns instead of just one. The main gun is more powerful. The shells are faster, has improved detection, and the detection is actually somewhat protected. If we take a look, the detection is embedded into the turret, and then it comes out from 4 angles. So even a decently good hit probably won't take out all of the detection, and even then, I do have a wireless snooper over here in the AI compartment, if I can just find it. There it is. Right there. The wireless snooper. So even if you do destroy all of the detection on the turret, the tank isn't going to, stop seeing. It will somewhat be able to still track you. It still has the flares of the last one. It's got a really small compact engine, not very efficient. And the armor is another thing I really like about it. So on the front you can just see that it has this absolute ridiculous amount of armor. Like, I would be genuinely surprised if anything could bust through the frontal armor. Over here on the side armor, the turret actually has the weakest armor, but even then it is still a substantial amount of protection for the turret. And the compartments over here have even more protection with the turret with an extra metal pole. So overall, the Andre tank is pretty good, but it has one major flaw. That. Any hit to, the detection directly. As you saw, I just destroyed the entire turret. And this explosive, it's not even that strong. It's only 10,000 explosive damage. And, well, it just knocked the turret clean off. However, luckily, not the entirety of the turret is destroyed, so that does save a little bit on repairing cost. And the Andre tank also does have this little star on both sides of its hull. I think it's pretty cool. Either way, it's time to fix up this Andre tank and do a battle. Alright, so we've actually got 3 Andre tanks set up because it's very difficult to find something that's 20k cost that wouldn't immediately just get destroyed. Most things that are like 20k cost are deep water guard vehicles, which, needless to say, they look very good, but they're not very practical. So we're going to spawn a bear. It's roughly equivalent, but I'm going to see if I can find something that's closer to the cost of 3 Andre tanks, which is like 60,000 materials. Yeah, the pair and grind will do just fine. Alright, so our tanks are shooting. They're using their flares. They're broadsiding. The tanks are controlled by AI breadboards, so as you can see, they behave very similarly, which I think of that as a feature. Because the previous tank kinda just went around the whole place. It didn't really broadside, and very often it actually turned its backside to the enemy, which, in case you don't know, is really bad for your survivability. Your rear armor is not as strong as your side armor or frontal armor. Alright, so the Andre tanks have reduced the parent grind to 92% health. They're doing pretty good right now. And the Andre tanks have taken considerably less damage. We're gonna check up on the parent grind now. Oh yeah, you can just see chunks of it are flying off. It's now 89% health. It does have pretty fast-firing advanced cannons, but I think the shells it's using are flak, because as you can see, those are very big explosions for, small cannons. Upon closer inspection, when the parent grind is at 83% health, it's really bouncing around, and you can see a lot of blocks are missing. Yep, and more keep flying off. Currently, the Andre tanks are doing just fine for themselves. I think they crashed a little bit there, but since they have very similar behaviors, when they do crash, they don't really have a very dramatic crash. It's more like they bump into each other. Now it's at 78, and looking at it, it is no longer fighting back. The turret was probably disabled, so yeah, not really much it can do now. It is still moving, but it's not like it's going to pose any threat to us. So I think we can pretty much just move on. Alright, we have 3 Andre tanks again. This time I'm going to spawn the enemy further away, and I'm going to spawn a battery, which is more expensive, but I trust my tanks are capable of taking it down. Their shells are very fast, and they do hit quite hard, so they should still be able to deal a lot of damage to the battery, which is already at 99% health. So as you can see, they're now kind of drifting. They got a critical hit and dropped the battery to 90% health. Let's go check up on it. Right now, the battery doesn't seem that injured, so I'm guessing we just caused an internal explosion. Yeah. I think it's only firing with like one of its missile batteries. So we've already done a great amount to hinder their capability to do damage to us. So I don't think the battery's going to be having a good day. Especially considering when you put rapid-firing advanced cannons into the mix. Like these little heat guns. It's down to 81% health. Another thing about these two guns is that they have the exact same muzzle velocity. The reason I gave them the exact same muzzle velocity is because I wanted to make sure that like the AI didn't mess up its shots. Because when you have different muzzle velocities, you have 2 different bullet trajectories. So if the bullets have the same trajectory, they can just aim at the same spot and hit. As you can see, same speed. Pretty good. And they did just kill the battery, which was slightly more expensive than the 3 of these tanks combined. So on to move on with another target. Alright, we've got the tank set up again. This time we're going to spawn something from the Twin Guard. A Centaur should be pretty close, because when I spawn it in, this is technically like the material cost you see on the right is only counting like the base and not the torso. So I think this will be a pretty even match. Let's go check. Alright, there it is. Oh yeah, it is pretty much even. You know, like 70,000 materials versus 60,000, pretty close. Okay, so I think we have already killed the torso. That's not good for the Centaur. Oh yeah, it is having a bad day. It is just not doing well. They completely hollowed it. Like it's just a shell. Yep, it's literally just a shell, and they just got rid of the other arm. And now they're shooting the base, you know, like the legs, kind of. Alright. Well, I think it's already pretty easy to see who's going to win this match, but we'll see it through. We'll see it through. And there we go. The Centaur has been killed. You know, I'm gonna make him fight a Leopold. I've actually seen a couple of test battles with the Leopold. I basically put it up against a tank I think was really good, the Scarab from the Steel Empire. Like, the Scarab has a really strong gun that will pretty much tear through armor. Like, it could legitimately one-shot the Andre if it hit the right spot. and it pretty much disabled like 3 out of the 5 tanks I put to fight it. So pretty good. The Leopold is not having a good day, but basically what the Leopold has is a bunch of short-range lasers that really hurt you. And I honestly want to make something like the Leopold, but that flies, so it's even worse. And I want to make it cheaper, so I can spam it. And then the enemies will have a very bad day. Like, an exceptionally bad one. Like, worse than this day right here. Maybe not this bad. Alright, well, the Andre tanks beat the Leopold, which is honestly really surprising. I thought the Leopold would have rushed them down and just murdered them, but it's a welcome surprise. And either way, with that being said, hope you enjoyed this video, and the reason I say hope is because there's always hope. There's just no chance. Goodbye.